I am trying desperately to get excited for Fundora and Keith Thurman, who are going to do battle tomorrow night, Saturday, March 28th. It is currently Friday, March 27th, as I'm recording this audio. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that big fight going down tonight, tomorrow. PBC card, and I feel like it's been a long ass time since there's been a PBC card. It's just crazy because not that long ago, Al Heyman and PBC, like, they were riding a high wave, man, for a good minute there, like in the late 2010s, and then I don't know what happened. I guess the zone happened. The zone, and I don't know, poor business decisions. I hear that, they're not getting any money from Amazon, which is why basically all of their fights are pay-per-views because they're trying to make some kind of money, any little penny they could squeeze. And their boxing cards, they used to be good back then, from what I remember at least. And lately, they haven't been very good. And this is a card that's shaping up to be kind of decent. I mean, I'm not gonna say good, but it's solid card. I mean, again, I'm trying to get excited for Keith Thurman and Sebastian Fundora, but also on the card, we're gonna see Yoenis Diaz taking on Brian Mendoza, who incidentally the latter knocked out the towering Inferno a few years back. That's actually one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen personally, just because of the visual of Sebastian Fundora's tall ass looking like a giraffe getting taken down, falling like, a skyscraper tipping over. It was crazy. But yeah, Brian Mendoza gonna take on Yoenli Steyes. Then we got Yoenli Hernandez taking on a fighter named Terrell Guasha. I don't know. I probably I probably butchered his last name, but Yoenli Hernandez is kind of notable just because he's been part of the Canelo camp of recent times. I know that Chepo Reynoso has a few good Cuban prospects in their camp, and also there's been crazy rumor, well, not crazy, but there's been a lot of rumors flying rampant that Yoenli's actually dropped Canelo in sparring. But I mean, those were probably the same folks that were saying Boots pieced up Canelo and dropped Canelo and beat him up too before the Crawford fight. So yeah, take everything you see on the internet with a grain of salt, obviously. And the only other notable fight that's gonna be on this card is one Elijah Garcia gonna do battle. He's facing off against a fighter Kevin Newman II. And this fight, I'm intrigued by this fight only because I want to see this kid, Elijah Garcia, because I actually have not seen him fight before. Yeah, I know I'm a casual, blah, 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 whatever. I don't have time to watch every single fucking boxing card. There's a lot of things I'm trying to keep up with as it is. I'm not solely a boxing fan. But nonetheless, Elijah Garcia has a KO victory over Resendiz, a very, very fundamentally sound, scrappy Mexican fighter that upset Caleb Plant last year. So I really want to see, and I forgot, there's another name on Elijah Garcia's resume as well that also piqued my interest. So I really want to see this kid. I want to see how he fights, because that's impressive already. As a matter of fact, hold up, let me see something. All right, so I just looked up Elijah Garcia's box rec, and yeah, never mind. The other fighter, the other notable fighter I was thinking of was Kyrone Davis, but evidently that's not the fighter because he did not win that fight. But nonetheless, I am gonna be interested in seeing Elijah Garcia fight. But really, the only fight I'm gonna talk about it is Fundora and Keith Thurman. But before I give my predictions on that fight, let's talk about some other boxing news. Oscar de la Hoya dropped an atomic bomb with his most recent clapback Thursday, just going off on Rick Morrigan and obviously Virgil Ortiz trying to wiggle his way out of his Golden Boy contract in the seek of more monies. And, I'm pretty sure I said it already. I'm going to say it again, man. The more and more this situation unfolds, I'm really beginning to think that Oscar de la Hoya is in the right, bro. And Golden Boy is in the right. And I've been saying this. This isn't just because, of these recent turn of events here because, Oscar's recent clapback Thursday was crazy. He actually posted screenshots of Rick Merrigan texting him, talking about, hey man, let's meet up. I'll fly you out, you and Holly, and we can discuss this because we need to protect Virgil and just pretty much admitting defeat, man. And in fact, him deleting his Twitter account to me was also an admission of defeat, and it's just crazy because, Virgil Ortiz, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to go the route of Mikey Garcia because maybe I'm overly optimistic. I'm stupidly enthusiastic, but I really want to believe that Virgil Ortiz and Oscar, at the very least, are going to work something out. And Rick Merrigan's going to have to go because clearly this guy he's been the barricade, man, that's been preventing the Boots fight. He's been the barricade that's been preventing Virgil from reaching new heights. It's very evident now because this dude, he's greedy, man. He's been trying to get way more money than what, I'm sorry to say, than what Virgil Ortiz is even worth. I'm one of the biggest Virgil fans on the planet, dog. I believe in that kid. I really think he's one of the best fighters right now at 154 and could be one of the best at 160, 168 if he keeps doing this. And the incredible run that he's been on too, absolutely derailed now because of these stupid decisions that have been made. And this is a cautionary tale for all the youngsters, all the future fighters that are up and coming and seeing how this goes. This is a what do you call it? Like, this is a college class, bro. This is a college class for them fighters to see what not to do, the type of decisions not to make. Because Virgil clearly did indeed get bad advice, like Oscar says, and I hate the fact that siding with Oscar in this whole thing. I'm always gonna root for the fighter over the promoter, over the big wigs, the blue collar guy that's actually putting in the fucking work and breaking a sweat over the pencil pushers that just signed the checks, but fucking Golden Boy and Oscar were right, dog. There's no other way to see it, and Rick Merrigan tried to respond to that clapback and, he talked about, I did not give Virgil bad advice. He's not sidelined. Arbitration is in, 90 days? Like, bro, that is being sidelined. Bro, he's gonna be sitting on the bench for up to 3 months. And that's best case scenario. That's best case scenario. At this point, for Virgil's sake, best case scenario is that he does indeed sit out the 3 months and maybe an additional extra month because he says, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna swallow my pride, my ego, and I'm just gonna work something out with Oscar. Clearly, I did make a bad decision, blah, 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 whatever. That's best case scenario at this point because they don't have a case. I don't think they have a case. The fact that De La Hoya and co. got a new deal with DAZN, and let me just say, going off on a tangent here, let me just say DAZN truly is making things poppin' right now with Top Rank, Matchroom, Golden Boy. I mean, really, all that's left is PBC. That's all that's left. But if they get that, bro, we'll have a DAZN versus Paramount Plus, Zuffa Boxing, whatever. It'll be like WCW versus WWF, but in boxing speak. It is a very interesting time in the sport of prize fighting. But worst case scenario is that they wait arbitration, they continue to push De La Hoya into court and try to get his way out of his contract somehow, some way. It's not going to work. And yeah, he does indeed sit out the rest of the year at minimum, and possibly, like a Mikey Garcia type situation where he ends up fucking missing 2 years straight of his prime, which would be an absolute travesty. When that happened to Mikey Garcia, bro, the fact that we never got Mikey Garcia versus Vasily Lomachenko, you want to talk about travesty? Everybody's talking about motherfucking Virgil Ortiz and Boots Enos. Fuck that fight, dog. Mikey Garcia versus Lomachenko. Mikey Garcia versus Vasily Lomachenko. That's one of the biggest what-ifs in boxing history, bro. The fact that fight never happened is an absolute travesty. And yes, I would have picked Mikey to win. I think Mikey would have knocked out Lomachenko the way Teofimo Lopez did. That's my point of view, and I'm sticking to it. But nonetheless, Virgil Ortiz and Butsinis ain't even on Mikey Garcia and Vasily Lomachenko's level when they were doing it. And these fools have the audacity to ask for all this kind of money for a fucking fight that wouldn't even main event an HBO pay-per-view. It probably wouldn't even main event an HBO World Championship Boxing telecast on the HBO channel. It would probably be on HBO's Boxing After Dark because the fight's not even for a title. This fight, Virgil Ortiz versus Butsinis, is like what Victor Ortiz versus Andre Berto was in 2011 or whatever. Okay? That's what this fight is. It's not that big, bro. Like, Turki Al-Sheikh came into the boxing landscape and completely flipped it on its head. Because now these fighters and managers evidently don't know how to fucking act. They're expecting all this crazy money and they ain't even worth that crazy money. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, yes, you know, Shakur and Teo got a huge bag for their fight. Bro, that's because Turki Al-Sheikh has a boner for Shakur. He has a boner for Devin Haney. You know, Devin Haney, they act like they're Muslims and shit. Turki Al-Sheikh has a boner for them. He ain't gonna give y'all that kind of money. Come on, dude. Oh, he tried, and what happened? Butsinis pulled out. He actually turned down 2 fights with Virgil Ortiz, citing that he needs tune-ups first. So, listen, man, you know, Virgil Ortiz is not looking good in this situation, but it is a fact that Butsinis did turn down 2 fights with Virgil Ortiz already twice. So, let's not act like, you know, this is some conspiracy. I've seen that on Twitter. Some stupid ass people making up conspiracies that this is all a big ploy by Oscar and Virgil just to avoid Butsinis. That's gotta be, let me just say it right now, that's gotta be one of the most retarded fucking takes or theories, whatever you want to call this shit. One of the most retarded fucking things I've ever read in my life as it pertains to boxing. Literally one of the most retarded ass theories I've ever read, that Oscar De La Hoya and Virgil Ortiz are orchestrating this whole thing all in a grand conspiracy to avoid fighting Boots, a fighter who hasn't even beat nobody. His biggest claim to fame is Stanionis. That's his biggest claim to fame. Bro, Madrimov, Bohachuk, and Erickson Lubin all could probably beat Stanionis. The fuck out of here, man. But anyway, I digress. I wish Virgil the best, man. It's very clear to me now at this point that he's on the wrong side of history here in this situation. All right, real quickly before we get to the Thurman Fundora fight, I want to recap a couple of fights from weeks ago. We had Arnold Barbosa Jr. defeating Kenneth Sims Jr. just as I predicted. And just like I predicted Murataya to defeat Andy Cruz from weeks prior to that fight. I love it how you know, fighters are overhyped despite not facing equal to or better competition than the fighter they are predicted to beat. You know, this reminds me of Boots and how everybody is predicting, should Boots and Virgil ever fight at this point in this lifetime, everybody seems to predict that Boots is just gonna steamroll over Virgil Ortiz. And I'm just like, why though? Like who on Boots' resume has you thinking like, damn, if he could do that to him, he's gonna fucking starch, you know, Virgil Ortiz. Like, bro, Virgil Ortiz has a higher pedigree. He has better fights under his belt. I'm not saying that, you know, that means Virgil's going to steamroll Boots or that he's going to beat Boots either, for that matter. But all I'm saying is I don't understand how certain fighters are overhyped despite not really having equal to or better opponents on their resume in opposition to the fighters that they're being predicted to beat. So like in the case of Andy Cruz against Murataya, I said it. How is that? Why is Andy Cruz such a huge favorite? Why is Murataya the champion? Why is he the underdog when he has a better pedigree? He has a better resume. He's fought better opposition, and he ended up winning the fight. He ended up practically, if I'm remembering anyway, he ended up outclassing Andy Cruz to a degree. He shut his ass down, and the same thing happened. Exact same thing happened with Arnold Barbosa and Kenneth Sims Jr. Exact same circumstances too. Again, with Arnold going in as a slight underdog, which I could not believe it. I was asking why. Why is Arnold Barbosa Jr. the underdog in this fight? He's fought better opposition. That dude went all the way to Great Britain, to England, to beat Catterall in front of a pro-British crowd, and it's hard as hell to get a decision out there for fighters fighting, them British born fighters. They're very biased. It's hard to get decisions out there. And Arnold Barbosa got a decision over Catterall, who was another hype job from England. And you expect me to believe that Kenneth Sims Jr. was just gonna outpoint and do a wide UD on Arnold Barbosa Jr.? Man, y'all are full of shit, man. I like to listen to everybody's opinions, because I'm hoping that people will listen to my opinion as well, just as I do yours. So, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but man, I don't understand how those things happen. Those type of predictions. So nonetheless, I'm happy to see Arnold Barbosa get the job done. And it was funny to me in the post-fight interview how he said, hey, man, I'm willing to fight anybody. Like, I've been trying to run it back with Catterall. I've been calling Catterall on the phone and saying, hey, man, if you want to get your get back, come at me, bro. Let's do it again. I commented like, bro, Catterall don't want any more smoke, bro. Leave that boy alone. But yeah, man, Arnold Barbosa, listen, man, his style is not my cup of tea. And the same thing goes for Murataya, for that matter. Barbosa and Murataya both. The same thing applies to both of them. I support my Mexican fighters. I support my Mexican-American fighters. But that particular fighting style is not my cup of coffee, man. You know what I'm saying? I like fights. I like chingazos. I like my rock'em sock'em robots, my body snatchers. You know what I'm saying? Call me whatever you want to call me. Yeah, you like cavemen. That's not the sweet science. You just like cavemen who just want to kill each other. Yeah, of course. I want to be entertained. I'm not watching boxing to see Dancing with the Stars, to see the tap dancing championship of Newark. I'm trying to see some fucking chingazos, some fucking, punches thrown with bad intentions, like Bad Intentions Taylor. I'm not trying to see no pity pat Bakers, man, bullshit. Okay? If that entertains you, more power to you. More power to you, and God bless. God bless you. God bless you in your life. But that's just not my style, man. And, I'm not saying, listen, Arnold Barbosa Jr. and guys like him and Murataya, they're good boxers. Would I pay money to see them? No, I would not. I would not buy their pay-per-views. Well, it depends who they're fighting, actually. It depends who they're fighting. It takes two to tango, but they're not the kind of fighters where if Arnold Barbosa ever fights in the Staples Center, or the Crypto Arena, as it's now called, I'm not going to be like, oh shit, babe, we need to get tickets. See, Arnold Barbosa is about to fight. Like, nah, bro, it's not like that. His style of fighting is not like that, where I'm going to fork out the money, especially with today's prices to go see events and shit. It's ridiculous, bro. I've been trying to cop some FIFA World Cup tickets, specifically for the Mexico-South Africa opening game, in Estadio Azteca, the renovated, revamped Estadio Azteca Banorte. And the tickets, bro, the cheapest tickets are like $14,000 each. Is fucking ridiculous. And that's not even like good seats either. It's just like whatever seats. Like, just fucking ridiculous, man. I've been looking at tickets possibly to go to WrestleMania again. I'm not doing that shit again. Last year was such a disappointment. Looking back in hindsight, I'm not doing that again. But I have Metallica is gonna be at the Sphere in Las Vegas come October. I've been trying to cop tickets to that, but everything is just way too expensive, man. Like with today's prices, it's ridiculous. So yeah, you won't catch me at an Arnold Barboza fight. But with that said, I like Arnold Barboza. I am a fan of his. I do want to support him, and I'll watch his fights in support, but I ain't gonna pay for him. Let's move on to the topic of the day. Tomorrow night going down, PBC event. Sebastian, the towering Inferno Fundora, taking on a PBC legend, the veteran Keith Thurman. I forgot his alias. I know he had an alias. Came one time, right? Was it one time? That was his alias back in the day. I don't know if it's still that now, but Keith one time Thurman. Sebastian Fundora is gonna knock him out, man. That's it. That's the video. That's the audio. That's my channel. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate. I don't see Keith Thurman being able to withstand the whirlwind that is Sebastian Fundora. He's not gonna pull off something like what Brian Mendoza, who's in the undercard tomorrow night, by the way. But he's not gonna pull off something like Brian Mendoza and knock the hell out of Sebastian, because I don't think Keith Thurman has that kind of power at this stage in his career. If I remember correctly, he was never like a one-hitter quitter type of fighter. If I'm remembering correctly, Keith Thurman, I mean, really, the only Keith Thurman fight that I ever watched that I could remember anyway was him and his fight with Danny Garcia. Danny Swift Garcia, that's right. Yeah, the Puerto Riqueño. That's the only fight I ever remember. And from what I remember, Keith Thurman, I did not watch the Pacquiao fight, but from what I remember, Keith Thurman, he was like a fast, smooth fighter that had quick hands, quick feet. And he had solid punching power, but nothing spectacular to where we're gonna see Sebastian Fundora tip over like a skyscraper like Brian Mendoza had him a year or two ago. But yeah, man, this fight is gonna look like Antonio Margarito Miguel Cotto 2008. That's what this fight's gonna look like. I think that this is a dangerous fight for Thurman at his age right now, 37 years old. I'm 36. I'll be 37 actually September this year. But 37 is young in life, but is old for athletics, for boxing, for soccer especially. 37 is the age where your body's not gonna respond. It's not gonna have the same response. It's not gonna have the same conditioning. I don't think he's gonna withstand the whirlwind that is Sebastian Fundora. They have weird genetics, man. Sebastian Fundora and his sister Gabriela Fundora, and yes, I'm a big fan now of his sister Gabriela Fundora. After what I see her do on that other card the other week, she was the Arnold Barboza. That's right, the Arnold Barboza undercard. I forgot I can't remember the name of the woman that she knocked out, but Gabriela, she's a stud. She's a female stud, man. She's and she's got a smile that could light up a room. I mean, she's something, man. She really is something for women's boxing. I've never been into women's boxing, to be honest with you, but I will definitely from this point forward tune in whenever Gabriela Fundora is on the card, because she is something to watch. She truly is. She's better than her brother. Gabriela Fundora is better than Sebastian the towering Inferno Fundora. I'm sorry to say. But they have weird genetics, man, because they're fucking tall and lengthy and like, obviously like Sebastian Fundora, he's like the Paul Williams, Antonio Margarito archetype, that's tall and lengthy, but he doesn't use his leverage or his length to his advantage to keep fighters at bay. He instead fights on the inside and he just smothers his opponents. He suffocates them, with a whirlwind of punches. And that's exactly what's gonna happen to Keith Thurman. I don't see any path to victory for Keith Thurman, if I'm being honest, which is crazy because there actually is a pretty sizable crowd too. A pretty sizable amount of people who are picking Keith Thurman to pull off the upset of the century, really. Like, it'll be a huge upset, I think. I don't see any path to victory for Keith Thurman. You know, I like the fact that Keith Thurman, he has charisma, man. He knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to use his mouth. You know, pause. But he knows how to sell a fight, man. Like, he has charisma. He talks that shit. And you know, I appreciate that, because these press conferences, bro, boxing needs to do away with press conferences, dog, or something. Or they need to spice them up. I don't know, because I try to sit through these press conferences and they're just so fucking boring, dog. Like, just insufferable. Like, I don't remember what was the last press conference I watched, and I was like, bro, what is this? Like, what was it, man? The last press conference I watched, besides the last one, besides Fundora and Keith Thurman. Oh, yeah. It was the fucking Ryan Garcia. The Ryan Garcia Mario Barrios press conference. Bro, that fight was being promoted as like this huge fight, you know, it's for a world championship, Ryan Garcia, blah blah blah. Bro, the press conference was so fucking boring, all of them too, because I'm used to Ryan Garcia acting a fool, you know, and being a fucking clown and talking that shit. But like, I don't know what happened. I don't know, you know, I mean, clearly he's definitely changed something, because you've seen it reflected in the way he fought. You know, if he could fight everybody the way he fought Mario Barrios, like, bro, Ryan's a problem for just about anyone, but he's not. He's not, because Mario Barrios is mid as fuck. That's why he made Ryan look like, you know, like the second coming of Sugar Ray Robinson is how Mario Barrios made Ryan Garcia look, you know? But yeah, man, be that as it may, press conferences are insufferable, but Keith Thurman actually makes them somewhat watchable, you know, with his antics, with his charisma. So I appreciate that from him. But once again, I'm just gonna say it now to end this transmission. I don't see a path for victory for Keith Thurman. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll come back here and eat crow and congratulate one time, doing it one more time in the big 2-6, but I don't see it happening. Sebastian Fundora by stoppage.